Imagine you are an ancient commander, staring down an invading force of hundreds of thousands of heavily armed soldiers marching directly toward your territory. Meeting a force that size on an open plain means guaranteed destruction. Your ranks would be quickly flanked, surrounded, and overwhelmed by their sheer numbers. To survive, you have to find a geographic choke point, a crack in the landscape that strips the enemy of their mobility and forces them into a space where those massive numbers become a liability. In ancient China, that choke point was Henggu Pass. It offered the most direct route into the Central Plains, but entering it meant walking directly into a trap. The geography here operated as a highly engineered machine designed to crush large invading armies and provide the resources to build an empire. The initial approach to the pass immediately neutralizes the wide, sweeping formations that large armies rely on for dominance. This image shows excavated ancient chariots alongside the skeletons of the horses that pulled them. Wide vehicles like these require flat, open terrain to operate side by side. When they reach Henggu Pass, they are forced into a single, vulnerable line. Before the attackers even reach the main gates, they hit a severe natural bottleneck. A fast-flowing river cuts directly across the eastern entrance, acting as the first hard line of defense. Because the water makes crossing so difficult, and the road to the gate is exceptionally narrow, the invaders cannot launch a massive, coordinated assault. Only a handful of soldiers can cross at any one time. By forcing the enemy to navigate a tight path and a dangerous river crossing, the terrain dictates the exact terms of the fight. The invading army loses its numerical superiority before a single arrow is fired. Once past the river, the enemy hits a literal wall. A fortress guards the entrance, anchoring thick stone walls directly to the steep mountain ridges on either side, creating an impenetrable hard stop. Inside the gorge, the funneled army is squeezed tightly at the bottom. The defending forces hold the extreme vertical advantage high up on the cliffs. From these heights, the defenders easily roll huge rocks and heavy logs down the steep slopes. The trapped invaders have almost no room to evade the crush of debris falling simultaneously from both directions. Holding this highly fortified choke point requires surprisingly few resources. A small, well-trained garrison can easily lock down the pass against a colossal army for the entire year. Henggu Pass operates as a perfectly calibrated meat grinder, extracting maximum destruction from the invading force while risking very little defending manpower. But the violence at the gates is only half the story. The real strategic value of the pass lies in what happens safely behind it. Because few soldiers are needed to defend the entrance, the massive region behind the choke point remains completely protected from the ravages of war. In this secure vacuum, the local population works vast, terraced agricultural fields without interruption, continuously harvesting and stockpiling massive food reserves. Alongside overflowing granaries, this untouched safe haven provides the time and space to train tens of thousands of fresh reserve troops. The choke point secures a highly productive economic engine. It allows commanders to safely hoard resources and manpower while the enemy starves and bleeds outside the walls. Eventually, a defensive stronghold with overflowing resources transforms into an offensive weapon. Those massive reserves of food and highly trained soldiers are mobilized. They flow directly out of the eastern gates, launching fresh, fully equipped campaigns. Supplied by a continuous, secure logistics chain, commanders systematically march out, overwhelm their exhausted neighbors, and conquer the Central Plains. Henggu Pass served as the ultimate force multiplier in ancient warfare. It mathematically guaranteed both the survival of the defenders and their eventual supremacy. While the pass is remembered as a graveyard for massive armies, it also served as the geographic springboard that allowed one state to unify a continent.